So we're staying in the same drawing again, the 07 hatchinggradients.dwg file. And you can see that we've got the hatch pattern, the gradient fill, and the solid fill as we've placed in the previous two videos. So how do we edit these hatch patterns? It's really quite easy. You'll notice, can you see when I hover over a hatch pattern, it kind of grays out or goes a bit grainy. Can you see that? And the whole idea of that highlight is it's letting you know that it's a hatch pattern. So if I click on the first hatch pattern that we placed, the crosshatch like that, can you see that obviously when I click on that, the ribbon changes again, and I now go into the hatch editor. And the nice thing about the newer versions of AutoCAD, can you see that? I've got like a kind of purple hint there. Can you see that? So you get these slight different color highlights that allow you to see the different contextual setups that you get on the ribbon. So the hatch editor is that little sort of purpley pinky color. If I just hit escape and deselect that hatch and go back to the hatch command here, can you see I get a different color? I get a kind of bluey color over there. And it allows you to distinguish between the different contextual tabs that you get on the AutoCAD ribbon. So I'll just hit escape there a couple of times and go back and select my hatch pattern. Now if I want to edit my hatch pattern, it's very easy to do. I go into the ribbon, into the pattern setting, and all I've got to do is change the pattern that I want. So I'll go for ANSI 37. Can you see I get a highlight of it? And that's what I love about AutoCAD. You get these highlights now of every single hatch pattern. So if I move around, can you see that changing as I move over each hatch? Like so. So if I select that ANSI 35 and hit escape there, I've got a totally different hatch pattern. Quick and easy to edit, and that's what I love about the hatch patterns in AutoCAD. They're quick, easy, functional, and effective. So let's have a look at the gradient fill now. So I click on it like so. There's the hatch there. And again, it comes up with the hatch editor on the ribbon. So it might be that I don't want a gradient there. I might want a solid fill. I might want to change the colors. And you'll notice there's all these different icons where I can go in and set the colors. So there's the gradient colors there. I can turn on or off the option for a 2-color gradient fill. If I switch that off, it goes to one color, which is that 152, 152, 204 there. Or I can click on it and I can load up something like a red color or change it to a green. And those greens and blues, can you see they're quite effective when you go with the one color? It's quite nice. If I went with grey like that and then just hit escape there, that's a really nice gradient fill to highlight that room. But you might use that on a window maybe, or perhaps some sort of graphical interpretation of something. And then last but not least, we've got the solid fill. Again, if I click on it, you'll notice that blue grip in the center there is actually the center of the actual hatch. If I click there, I can actually move that around. It's just like a block, just like a grip on a block. I'll just hit escape to deselect that. And I'll select the solid fill again. So you might not want a solid fill there. You might want to change that. You might want to change the color. So instead of being by layer, I'll make it a red color, for example. So that has its own individual color now rather than following the hatch layer that we had obviously in place previously. So you can see that those hatches and gradient fills and solid fills now look completely different. So that's how you edit your hatching. Now, it may be that you want to edit your hatching, but you want to edit the boundary of your hatch. Now, what happens, for example, if I remove this door? So if I click on that block reference there, and I actually physically delete that by clicking on Erase on the Modify panel, what happens? Can you see on the command line, Hatch Boundary Associativity removed? That's because it's now lost its boundary. Can you see that? There's hatching there that kind of sort of sits there, but it's got no boundary to it. But it has got an invisible boundary. Can you see that? You've got the grips there. So if I just undo that a couple of steps now, go back and bring the door back, you can see that the hatch pattern stays there, but you lose the associativity. So if I select that hatch pattern and click on it, it is associative, but it's only associative to its boundary. So if I changed that boundary and hatched it again, for example, so what I could do there is I could utilize match properties. So let's have a look at how that works. How does match properties work? Well, let's just hit escape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over here. So there's a hatch pattern there floating around and the hatch pattern associativity has been removed. So I'll just hit escape to deselect it. I'll now go to the hatch command again. But what I'm going to do is remove the door this time. So I'm going to erase the door. And what I might do there is I might just extend that doorway line there just so it's a solid boundary. So I'll click on that line, click on that grip, take it up to that endpoint there. Make sure your snaps are on, which mine aren't. So we need to come down there and switch on the snaps. And then we come over here like that and click there. And I've got a line there that now forms a boundary. So if I zoom out again, go back to my hatch command, select hatch, and I'll go for, let's say, an angle pattern, and I'll put that in there like that, and just click and hit escape. Now, I might want to edit that hatch pattern. I want it to be that pattern there. So if I've already got an existing hatch, I just click on this one. I go over here to match properties, select this one here, that's the source, and then it changes it automatically. How cool is that? Really quick and easy, and it alters the hatch pattern for you. I hit escape like that, delete that one, don't need that, so I go to the home tab on the ribbon, and I erase that one because I don't need it anymore. So that's how you work with editing your hatches, your gradients, and your solid fills. And that process I've just used on that hatch pattern on the left, that would work on a gradient fill. It would also work on a solid fill as well.